Yeah, so good evening, everyone. Today we'll discuss about EC2. So in the AWS, one of the major services EC2. EC2 stands for Elastic Compute Cloud. What is the meaning of Elastic? What is the meaning of Elastic here? So elastic meaning is, so whenever we want to stretch, we can stretch it, like we can increase the resources. Whenever we don't want the resources, we can reduce also. That means that scale up and scale down is possible. That is the reason we are calling as elastic. Then what is the meaning of compute? Like CPU and memory kind of resources are called as compute. And from the AWS cloud, we are getting. So that is the purpose we are calling as EC2. EC2 stands for Elastic Compute Cloud. Say EC2 stands for Elastic Compute Cloud. Say Elastic Compute Cloud. What we are getting from the EC2? What we are getting from the EC2? From the EC2, what we are getting is high scalable, available computing resources we are getting. Okay, so high scalable and high available computing resources we are getting, and those we are calling as an instance. An instance is nothing but a virtual server from AWS cloud. In the physical, if you want any physical server, we need to go to hardware vendor. We need to have the hardware, and we required even CPU, memory, motherboard. Okay, so networking, then storage. Lot of things are required. Not only this, we need to install the OS drivers, patches. All these we need to take care. But if I go for the cloud, no need of hardware, no need of software installations. A pre-configured OS templates are available. We can scale up, we can scale down. Even in the physical servers, again, if you want to scale up, we need to go to again, we need to go to again to the hardware vendor. We need to scale up our server. Okay. But in the cloud, what's happening? In the cloud, what's happening? Automatically, we are getting that scale up kind of things also we are getting. Automatically we are getting, so just we need to use it and we need to pay the money. If I use more, we'll get more money. If we don't use it, we are not going to get the money. Okay, so if we use more, we are going to get more money, and if we are not using, then sorry. Okay, so if you pay, we need to pay based on the usage itself. That means pay as you go kind of thing. Okay, so that is also one of the advantage. But with the physical server, whether we use it or we didn't use it, we need to pay money according to that itself. We need to pay the money. Okay, but here what we need to do, only for the usage itself, we need to pay it. So that is the main advantage of using. That is the main advantage of using the cloud. Okay, so then, so what is your understanding of this one, we have the physical servers. These physical servers have been moved to VMs or virtual machines. Now we are moving to, from the virtual machines to, we are moving to the cloud. Okay, so in the AWS, those are calling as instances we are calling, or maybe in Azure we are calling as VMs, or in GCP maybe computing kind of resources we are getting. Okay, so that means maybe 20 years back we have the physical servers, later we moved to virtual machines. Now we are using, now what we are using, we are using the cloud. Okay, so these kind of transmission, like transition has been happened with the last 10 years, and most of the infrastructure is moving, so now physical to virtual server. People have used VMware converter. So people has used VMware converter, previously they have used, but now like mostly we are using from the VM to cloud to convert. Now we are using like maybe SMS kind of tool, server migration service. So can you tell me the use case for server migration service? So on premises we have some of the servers, and those we are moving to cloud by using, those we are moving to cloud by using the server migration service we are moving. Server migration service we are moving. Okay, any doubts?
No, sir.
Okay, so then what is the meaning of VMware like a converter? So we have the physical server, those can be moved to like server virtualization using VMware converter kind of tool. But now from the on premises to cloud we are using
Server migration
server
service.
migration service, that's called as SMS. Okay, and even if we have the databases, we can use DMS. Okay, what is the meaning of that? The DMS stands for database migration service. Okay, so that's we have like a SMS is server migration service, DMS is database migration service. Okay, so this we are going to migrate into to the cloud. We are going to migrate. Okay, so that means lot of companies doesn't expect to build a new infrastructure only in the cloud. Okay, so then what is your understanding of instance? What is your understanding of an instance? Instance is,
System
yeah,
bank.
it's a virtual server. It's a virtual server. Okay, so with the instance, we are getting the virtual server, and what we are getting from that virtual server is like our like a Linux operating system, or Windows operating system, or like Mac kind of servers we are getting. Okay, so normally it's a virtual machine itself, but in the AWS we are calling the term as, AWS is calling the term as, what is the term AWS is using? Instance. So if someone asks about instance, don't tell it's a server or virtual server. Okay, say virtual computing environment from the AWS cloud we are calling as an instance. A virtual computing environment from the AWS cloud we are calling as an instance we are getting. Okay, so that virtual computing environment is called as an instance we are getting. Okay, so then like which operating systems it is supporting? It supports Linux. Even in the Linux, there are a lot of distributions. Most of them is supporting. Can you tell me some of the Linux? So Linux is an open source kernel is available. On top of that, lot of companies they can release their own distributions. So like this, we have a Red Hat, we have, or we have Ubuntu, we have CentOS, we have. Then like we have Fedora. Then like a Debian. In the same way, even we have like Amazon also has released Amazon Linux also we have. Okay, so not only this, like even there are other flavors also. Oracle having Oracle Linux. Okay, so then, so what is that meaning is Linux is an open source and they're releasing the kernel. By using these kernels, lot of companies are releasing their own versions of Linux. And if have any support is required, we need to contact that support teams. So we need to contact that the support teams we need to contact. So that is the purpose. We have the Linux. Most of the companies are preferred compared to Windows. So even scalability, like performance is good, and even lot of benefits are there by using the Linux servers. So with the help of cloud, the demand for the Linux has been increasing. Okay, then even we have a good base for Windows servers also. Say in the Windows servers we have 2016, 2019, 2022. Say like this we have the different Windows servers we have. Even 2025 also is there. So these kind of servers we are going to use. Okay, so 2016, 19, 22 kind of servers we are going to use. And what is the purpose of those servers are? Like to deploy our applications or databases, to run our logic, or maybe any of the data warehousing kind of, say suppose that computing is very very important. Okay, that computing capabilities we are getting from the AWS cloud in the EC2 instances. Okay, additional to Linux, Windows, what is supporting? So Mac also is supported by this. So Mac is supported. Yeah. Any doubts on this?
Oh, clear, sir.
Okay. So then one more is Unix is not supported. Mac is supported mostly like in the gaming, graphics, then like in the animations. Mac also is most of the companies are using. Okay. Then Unix is not supported. Most of the clouds are Unix is not supported. Azure is not supporting even Mac also. They're supporting Linux and Windows. Okay. So then, like this computing is required, that CPU and memory. Then we require lot of CPU types and lot of hardware kind of things. So those depends upon our requirement. We can choose from the AWS cloud. Okay, so that's we are getting from the AWS. Okay, so now here in the EC2, as the name suggests, computing resources, that CPU and memory we are calling as computing resources. Then the second one is what we have is the second one what we are getting is like a storage is required. That storage wise we are using EBS volumes. Okay, so that persistent storage is available from the AWS. That persistent storage is available from the AWS, and those we are calling as EBS volumes. What is that meaning of persistent is, even if the desktop shut down, restarts, we are not losing our data. Okay, so what's happening? Even if that instance, if deleted, we may lose the data, but even if the shutdown happen, restart happens, the data is persistent. That kind of hard disk we are getting from the AWS cloud, and that's we are calling as EBS volumes. Okay, now that service is EBS. What is the meaning of EBS? Elastic block storage. Okay, so from the EBS volumes, we are getting those data we are getting, and we are calling that as the EBS volumes we are getting. And prior to that, there is one more solution also is there called as instance store. Okay, the main difference between EBS volumes and instant store is the data is not persistent. Means if the mission shut down, we are losing the data. Okay, but in the EBS volumes, the data is persistent. With the EBS volumes, the data is persistent. So that is the purpose we are going to use. EBS volumes we are going to use. So EBS volumes we are going to use. Can you tell me the difference between EBS and instant store? What is the difference between EBS and instant store?
Data is not persistent in the instant store.
Instant store. Okay.
When
Yeah, but
when
now
it
now
comes
mostly we
to
are getting EBS itself. And what is the meaning of EBS?
elastic block storage,
EBS stands for Elastic Block Storage. It's a persistent storage is available. This called as like is a block storage. So what is that block storage also we'll discuss. But EBS is a block level storage. The complete storage, like if you take 1 TB or 2 TB, is complete one block of data. Okay, it's called as a block level storage. Even in AWS, we have the file system, or we have object level storage also. But if someone asks about EBS, as the name suggests, it's a block level storage we have. It's a block level storage. Okay, so then, like even in the interview, people will ask us the difference between EBS volumes and instant store. But in our projects, we are using as of now EBS volumes itself. We are going to use the EBS volumes itself. We are going to use it. Okay. Any doubts on this? Any doubts on this? Okay. So then after instance store, like what we are going to do is like here we need like AMI. So normally you purchase a laptop or you purchase a desktop or server, we need to install OS. Normally we'll get that in the form of ISO format. We are mounting that ISO. Then in the DVD, CD, USB drive or somewhere we are installing that. But in the AWS, we no need to do like that. We are getting in the AWS, we are calling those as AMIs. What is the concept of AMIs? We'll discuss. Amazon Mission Images. Mission Images. So, what is the meaning of AMI? Is like it's a pre-configured. It's a pre-configured OS templates we are getting, and we are going to reuse those templates. And like what is the main advantage is we no need to install the operating systems from the scratch. Okay, so we no need to install the operating systems from the scratch. What we are doing, what we are doing,
EBS templates.
we have already those AMIs. We are just using them, and we are paying that. If I say if I configure from scratch without having the AMI, I need to mount the ISO, need to install that patching, all that is little challenging kind of thing. But in the AWS cloud, what is the main advantage, or in any of the cloud, what is the main advantage is we are getting pre-configured templates. What is the main advantage is we no need to install the operating system, but we need to just select those. We just need to select those
AMIs.
AMIs what we want. You just need to select those AMIs what we want. Say suppose you want for your project Ubuntu. Again in Ubuntu you may have 22.04, 24.04. Okay, say then we want like maybe this Red Hat 7.x, 8.x, Amazon Linux 2023 image, or if you go for Windows Server 2016, 2019. So like this we have the OS with the different versions we have. That exact version we are going to choose as per our requirement. So that's we are calling as OS templates we are calling. So those OS templates we are getting, and as per the usage we are going to use them. As per the usage we are going to use them. And if we use those templates, what is the main advantages? Like we no need to install the operating systems. Okay, automatically we are going to manage them. Automatically we are going to manage them. So that is the main purpose of using AMIs. Okay, and if you go for the AMIs, mostly like Microsoft, sorry, like AWS itself is providing lot of AMIs for us, or even we can get it from the marketplace also. What is the meaning of marketplace is like there are some thousands of commercial AMIs also. If you choose from the marketplace, what is the challenge is we need to pay the money for we need to pay the money for the image also. But if you use the community AMI, we don't need to pay the money. Only for the resources we need to pay the money. But if you take from the marketplace, we need to pay to the images also. We need to pay the money. For the images also, we need to pay the money. Okay. Yeah. Any doubts on this?
Again, sir, because I lost due to some bad
Yeah. Yeah.
network.
Say here, if we have the community kind of AMIs, second one we have is marketplace AMIs. Mostly AWS, or we can also develop our own AMIs also we can develop. But what is the concept of marketplace is lot of vendors also can keep in the AWS their marketplace AMIs. If you use those AMIs, we need to pay even to that vendor also. So suppose I'll tell one example. We have one SUSE AMI, SUSE Linux AMI with SAP is already pre-configured in that. If I use this one, I need to pay some amount to even to that AMI also I'm paying, not only for resources only. But if I use the community AMIs, if I use the community AMIs, mostly for AMIs I'm not going to pay. Okay. But if I use marketplace, even for the AMI also we are paying. But by default, whatever the Ubuntu, Windows Server we are using, most of them are provided by AWS under the community kind of thing. For that AMIs, we are not charging. They are not charging. Okay. Say, but like if you choose from marketplace, if you choose from the marketplace,
We need to pay for that.
yeah, for that we need to pay the money.
Sir, in real time, are we going to use this kind of way, sir?
Yes, yes, that depends upon the requirement. So suppose with the commercial or marketplace AMIs, what is the advantage is you no need to set up that complex thing. It's already configured.
Redefined.
Yeah. And even that licensing, all that in that AMI itself, which may be included. Okay. So a lot
Okay.
of product owners also, we no need to struggle to set up all that. They're giving already an AMI. That just we can use it. That just we are going to use that one. Okay. Yeah. Any doubts on this part? Any doubts?
As of now, it is clear, sir.
Okay. So then here we are going to use second thing what we need to understand is instance type. Okay. Say instance type also says suppose whenever we are purchasing that server or laptop. A lot of people have a doubt whether we need to go for i3, i7. See, these all the different process, which type of RAM, how much RAM is required. So like this, all these in the AWS also, when we are taking an instance, what is the size of hardware which type of hardware is required, which type of CPU, how much virtual CPUs we required. Then how much memory is required. So these kind of all the things are decided by instance type. By choosing the instance type, what exactly we are getting, we are deciding the size of the instance type we are getting. So instance type we are getting. Okay, so what is the main advantage is depends upon our requirement. Very high scalable kind of instances types are available. Okay, so very high available like instance types are available. Depends upon our requirement, we need to choose which one we want. Okay, so which one we want, so it depends upon our requirement, we need to choose them. Okay, so then say suppose we are going to take a free account for 1 year, so then they're giving T2 dot micro. What is this T2 dot micro? I will explain. But in this we are getting one virtual CPU and 1 GB RAM we are getting. Okay, then this we can use for 750 hours per month. With the 750 hours per month, we are using this. Okay. Yeah, any say suppose here in some of the new regions, T2 hardware is not available. In those locations, AWS is giving for the free of cost T3. But in the real time, we don't use T2 dot micro, but with the free account, they're providing this one. Okay, so with the free account, always recommended to use T2 dot micro. In some regions, T2 hardware is not available. At that moment, they are giving T3 dot micro. I think with the T3 dot micro, we are getting two virtual CPUs. Okay,
Okay,
then yeah, instance type is size. How much size we required? So that's we are going to identify how much size is required. We are going to select. Okay, so then. So once we design this size and this, we need to identify the region, on which region we want. Also, we need to choose. Mostly, the region architect will decide, depends upon where exactly the target audience are. Mostly my target audience and our end users are in the US. Then among that, they may choose one region in the US. Or there may be some government constraints also. Definitely, this company data need to be kept in this country itself. That kind of government rules also would be there. Said from the proximity, that means nearest to users. Based on these all the factors, the we need to design the region. And always the critical servers don't keep only in one zone. Okay, say don't keep in one available zone. Always recommended to use minimum two AZS available zones. We are going to select. What is the advantage of that? Even if the one zone goes down, the solution is highly available. Even if one zone goes down, the solution is highly available from the another zone. So that is the purpose we are going to use multiple zones. We are going to keep it. All the critical servers don't keep in the one zone itself. Replicate them into multiple zones. Even then, one zone goes down or one zone have a power failure or any natural calamities hit, another zone would be available. Even in the high available environment, we are going to deploy the servers even in the multiple regions also. With that, what is going to happen is even if one region goes down, another region would be there. Even if one region goes down also, we'll have the another region we are going to plan. So like this, all the architect we are going to design. Then like what is the AMI we required, what is the instance size we required, we are going to choose. Then there is one more thing what we need to select is here we don't have like a password for the instances. Normally for your laptop we are going to set the password, right? But in the AWS environment we will have a username and a key pair would be there. So that security wise it's one of the best practice. Passwords are easy to like a hack or easy to someone will identify. More security purpose we'll have the key pair. In the key pair, as the name suggests, we have a private key and public key. Okay, so public key is with the instance and the private key is the unique all over the globe, and we will have the private key. As of now, one thing what I can tell is if we don't have the someone doesn't have the private key, it's almost impossible to connect to that instance. And don't share your key pair to anyone. Okay, so it's a public and private key encryption mechanism is going to happen. What is the main advantage is secure than password kind of mechanism. It's secure than passwords. Okay, yeah, any doubts on this part? So we are going to get a key pair, okay, and username also will get, but we don't have the passwords. Okay, so we don't have the passwords we don't have. Okay, so then like once we got the username and key pair, with that we are going to connect to that instances. Then here we have the security groups. So what is the concept of security groups? Are those security groups are called as firewall rules. Okay, so that means by default AWS is providing a virtual firewall. So what is the concept of a firewall in the technology or networking is firewall is going to filter the traffic. Normally you are entering into a mall, one security guard will check it or not, he will filter like if any unauthorized persons or if someone comes he will block and he will check it. In the same way to the server, what is the traffic it is coming, that is going to check. And those rules we are going to configure. Okay, so those rules are called as inbound rule and outbound rule. We are going to configure inbound rule and outbound rule. With the inbound rule, what's happening is the server request is coming from outside to like to the server. Okay, that external traffic is coming to the server. That's called as like inbound rule. Outbound rule is from the server to like to the public network or to the outside of that server. Okay, so then server to outside, what is the traffic is going to happen is the outbound rule. Okay, so those rules we are allowing. Okay, so that's called as security group. Those rules are called as security group we are getting. Okay, so suppose I'll tell one example. We have a Linux server. Okay, for the Linux server, definitely we need to open SSH22 port. Then only others can connect to that server. If I don't open that 22 port, then others can't connect to that server. Okay, say, can you guess whether that need to be open in inbound rule or outbound rule?
Inbound rule.
Yeah, in the inbound rule we need to open. If the same thing, if we want to open in the Windows, okay, we need to open the RDP 3389 should be open. Okay, so that RDP is called as remote desktop protocol. So remote desktop protocol. Okay, so that's If you don't open, say suppose for the Windows instance, if you open 22, there is no use. Okay. And I deployed a website, then definitely we need to open 80 or 443 also. We need to open. If we don't open those, it's not going to work. If you don't open, it's not going to work on that. Okay. Any doubts on this part?
No, sir.
Okay. So then additional to this, like we need to configure even the networking also we need to get. So suppose that's called as VPC. By default, if you create an instance, we are getting one public IP address and we are getting a private IP address also. The public IP, like over the internet, we can reach that server. The private IP only within the that network or within the VPC only for the communication we are going to use. Can you tell me the difference between public IP is over the internet we can access that server because that's maybe in the US some region or somewhere in the Mumbai region or somewhere Hyderabad also is not in my office. That's somewhere in the AWS. That's over the internet we can access that server using the public IP, but only within the VPC if we want to access, then we require a private IP. By default, for every instance, AWS is providing a public IP and a private IP. I don't want the public access to that server, then we are using only the private IP we are getting. Okay. So then here there is one more terminology is there called as elastic IP. What is the concept of elastic IP is say here the public IP what we are getting from the AWS is dynamic. What is the meaning of dynamic? It's keep on changing. If you shut down that VM, okay, it's keep on changing. But I don't want to change that. Then we are going to use a static public IP that is called as elastic IP. Okay, so by default, what is the public IP we are getting is by default the public IP we are getting is dynamic kind of thing. What is the meaning of dynamic?
It will always keep
It's
on
keep on
changing.
changing. Okay, but in this scenario, like if I use the elastic IP, say suppose I have a web server for 1 year, I don't want to change that IP address. At that moment, we are going to use the elastic IP. At that moment, I'm going to use the elastic IPs I'm going to use. Okay, so then there is one more important terminology is there called as tags. So what is the meaning of tags is say everyone knows the tweet, right? Based on the tweet hashtag we can search that all the tweets or not. In the same way, like we can give to the resources also tags we can give. What is the main advantage of giving the tags to the resources? We can search or filter those resources. We can search or filter those resources by using the tags. By using the tags, we can search or filter. Okay, by providing all these details, we need to create an instance, and that instance is getting created in the AWS zone or region where we have selected. Okay,
Okay, sir.
that's we'll do in the next session. Okay,
Okay.
sure. Any doubts? Any doubts? Okay, sure.
Sir,
Then tomorrow we'll
uh,
connect at 8 o'clock.
sir,
Yeah,
sir, what about no notes, sir? Like
yeah,
running
we'll
notes.
we'll provide the notes. Running notes you
Okay,
can
sir.
write. We'll send the recording, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
No, like
Sir, like,
material I'll provide.
sir, what about the course content or anything? Like tomorrow,
That's
what's the topic? Today is what is the
yeah. That's
like?
I'll send that course content. I'll send.
Okay, sir. That's
Okay. Sure. Yeah.
it.